I never thought I'd watch my childhood home get crushed by a bulldozer with my mother's handkerchief still in my hand. But life has a funny way of showing you who holds the real power, until they don't. It happened on a Tuesday morning. Sky was clear, birds chirping like nothing was about to be destroyed. I was in what used to be my mom's sewing room, folding up her old embroidery, the little blue flowers she'd stitched during her last weeks, fingers trembling from the chemo. That room smelled like her, linen and lavender, and something else I can't describe. I remember thinking I should maybe box these up properly, preserve them, and then the floor started to shake. At first I thought maybe it was trucks from the highway expansion project 2 miles out. But no, this was close. Too close. I walked to the window. And there it was, a big yellow bulldozer creeping up to the edge of my property like it owned the place. Behind it, a little army, 3 HOA board members in pastel polos, 2 county inspectors. One cop who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, and at the front, red heels planted like she was queen of the land, Charlene Langford, president of the East Valley Neighborhood Association. She held a clipboard in one hand and some sort of legal-looking document in the other, waving it like she was auctioning off justice. "Mr. Nash," she called out across my front yard. "Your home has been deemed structurally unsound and a violation of community standards. Demolition will proceed immediately." Now, if you've never been on the receiving end of a line like that, let me tell you, it doesn't come with a conversation, just a command. And sure, my house was old. Real old. My granddad built it himself back in 1931. It creaked when the wind blew, and the roof leaked in the northeast corner during heavy rain. But that house had withstood 3 hurricanes, a tornado, and 38 years of Thanksgiving dinners. What violation? I asked, stepping outside, still clutching that handkerchief like it could shield me. Charlene smiled like a crocodile in lipstick. "The foundation's compromised, the roof's a hazard, and it presents an immediate threat to neighboring properties. We have legal authority to proceed." I looked down at the document she handed me. It had diagrams, engineering seals, a watermark. All very official looking until I spotted something off. The photo labeled, "Evidence of damage." It wasn't even my house. I'd seen that building before, abandoned down in Miller County, right off Route 7. Someone had copied a photo from Google Street View and slapped it onto a fake report. "This is fraud," I told her. "You can't do this." Charlene shrugged. "The decision's already unanimous." I didn't yell, didn't scream, just stood there and watched as the dozer rolled in and flattened 92 years of family history in 17 minutes. I swear I heard something in the beams groan like a soul leaving a body. But they didn't know one thing. See, under that house, beneath those oak trees Charlene's bulldozer couldn't touch, lay a root cellar. My great-grandfather dug it himself in 32. Back when folks still preserved food in jars and didn't trust banks with their secrets. And down in that cellar, wrapped in oilcloth and tucked behind a false wall, were blueprints. Not just any blueprints, the blueprints. The original plans for the regional water grid. My great-granddad wasn't just a builder. He'd engineered the water system for half the valley. And according to a legal document dated March 5, 1932, our family had perpetual rights to the main valve that fed all of East Valley, including the 3,000-acre ranch Charlene and her HOA buddies kept off the books. I took pictures of every page, every seal. Then I called Marcus Boyd, a property lawyer and the only one in town who still remembered my mom's potlucks. When I explained what I found, he got real quiet. "If those documents are legit, Nate," he said, "you don't just own water rights, you control them." I didn't flip the valve right away. Mom always said, "Let the truth simmer before you serve it." Instead, I threw a memorial barbecue for her on the dirt lot where our house used to stand. Invited the whole community. Some came for the food, some came out of guilt. But they came. Even old Mr. Dillard from 3 doors down, who once called my lawn a disgrace to the subdivision, brought peach cobbler. I gave a little speech about Mom. Talked about family, about legacy, about water. And then I said, casually as pie, "Did y'all know my great-granddad built the water system that keeps this town going?" Heads turned. "It's true," I continued. "And thanks to some old paperwork. Seems like our family still owns the rights to it. Kinda makes you think about who really keeps the tap flowing." That's when Charlene showed up. She stormed in like thunder on a sunny day. "Mr. Nash," she snapped, "using your mother's death to spread lies is inappropriate and frankly, disturbing. I smiled. Charlene, would you like some ribs? They're a little smoky, but made with love. The crowd chuckled. She didn't. The next morning, Marcus called again. She's moving money, he said. Looks like she used HOA funds to buy that ranch, illegally. We're talking embezzlement, Nate. Real jail time stuff. That's when I stopped waiting. I climbed down into the valve chamber, hand on the wheel, and turned it, just a quarter. Not enough to shut off the flow. Just enough to squeeze the pipes. 2 hours later, my phone lit up. First it was the water department. Then it was Charlene. What do you think you're doing? She hissed. Routine maintenance. I replied. System's old. Gotta be careful with the pressure. You're playing a dangerous game. Funny, I said. That's what I was going to tell you. And then came the twist I never saw coming. Sarah Quinn, an investigative journalist new to town, showed up on my doorstep. Mind if I ask you a few questions, she said. Your story smells like something bigger. She was right. Turns out, Charlene's ranch wasn't raising cattle, it was raising hell. Sarah got drone footage, thermal images, chemical markers. What looked like barns were actually lab buildings. DEA had been watching from afar but couldn't get close enough. Why? Because the only high ground with a clear view of Charlene's operation was my old front porch. They needed me. So I made the call. Agent Collins with the DEA briefed me in a diner 2 days later. Their plan was simple. Cut off the water, shut down the operation, and let the panic expose everything. My job? Turn the valve. Stay underground. Keep the pressure where it hurt. At exactly 10 a.m. that Friday, I shut it down. 6 hours later, the ranch was a hive of chaos. Trucks pulled in, hauling out equipment. Men in suits and masks ran around like ants in a flood. Charlene herself made the call that nailed her, caught on wiretap ordering a full evacuation. DEA agents swooped in like a justice storm. Helicopters. SWAT vans. The whole ranch got flipped like a pancake. They arrested Charlene right on the land where my house once stood. As they led her past the valve chamber, she glanced down, right where she knew I was hiding, and mouthed the word, "Why?" I wish she could have heard my answer. Because you forgot people don't need power to be powerful. 6 months later, I moved into a new home, built right on top of the old foundation. Community came together to help. Marcus helped form the Nash Community Rights Foundation. Sarah won an award for her coverage and now teaches journalism at the community college. Charlene? She got 12 years. Took a plea deal to help bring down the rest of the cartel ring she was tied to. But before she left, she wrote me a letter. Said she was sorry. Included a check for 50 grand made out to the foundation. Funny thing is, I think she meant it. Some nights, I walk out to the valve chamber. Just to listen. The pipes still hum. Like they're singing the songs of the people who depend on them. I keep my hand on the wheel. Not to punish, not to threaten, but to remember what Mom said. Control is easy. Responsibility, that's the real test. So yeah, Charlene tore down my house. But she didn't break me. Because this land, these roots, this story, it's mine. Now I want to hear from you. If you've ever had to stand your ground against corruption, against lies, against the people who thought they could bulldoze your life, drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about justice, about home, about what's worth fighting for. And if this story made you feel anything, share it. Somebody out there might need a reminder that the little guy doesn't always lose. Sometimes we just play a longer game.